On January 28, 1996, the Dallas Cowboys defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers in Super Bowl 30. The photo you see behind me was taken during the Super Bowl party I hosted that year. At the time, I was a senior at Binghamton University in upstate New York. The Cowboys' Super Bowl dynasty of the 1990s, where they won 3 Super Bowls in 4 years, coincided with my 4 years in college. I was heavily involved in the campus TV station and thought it would be fun to record myself watching my favorite team win the Super Bowl. The result was no ordinary Super Bowl party. Using camera equipment and technology available at the time, I recorded myself and my guests watching the game and capturing our reactions. And that footage has gone on to become the first ever sports fan reaction video. This was before social media and YouTube. In fact, the internet itself was relatively brand new. The 2020 NFL season marks the 25th anniversary of this landmark event. And tonight, we will take a look back at how it all came together. We'll talk with those who were there and played pivotal roles in the events that unfolded. So sit back and enjoy this retrospective look at a truly groundbreaking video event. We all have great moments in our lives, some more than others. But as we get older, the minute-to-minute details of these moments eventually fades to the point where we can only remember parts of these moments. Yeah, can I get the number 22? Get the biscuit sandwich with the sausage and jalapeno cheddar biscuit. Sometimes we remember the moments out of order or confuse them with other events. And sometimes we simply just forget the details of these moments.
Thank you. Have a good day.
That is why we record ourselves. Sure, it's fun to look back at the hairstyles or people you forgot that you knew, maybe some crazy pants that you used to wear, but we record ourselves so that we can remember these memorable moments exactly the way they happened. Weddings, birthdays, anniversaries, kids' birthdays, and so on. We've all recorded these memorable moments. Me? I've recorded those moments too. And on one occasion, 25 years ago, I recorded me and my friends watching my favorite team win the Super Bowl.
This is like Christmas morning, man. You wake up, last night you can't sleep, you're staring at the ceiling. It's like Christmas Eve. You're listening for Santa Claus coming down a chimney, and you wake up and it's like Christmas morning.
How you doing? I'm Anti-Conti, the Cowboys fan, and well, you know, hey, we're back for new semester, and I hate to tell you, I say I told you so, but I told you so.
The fourth Conti Super Bowl party is many different things. It's part television show.
It's gonna be a good game. I mean, I gotta anticipate that.
I just hope for everybody, you know, who watch football this year, it's competitive and close, you know?
It's part play-by-play broadcast. It's part drama, it's part Shakespeare. But ultimately, what it really is, it's a fan reaction video.
It wasn't just an evening experience, it was a whole day experience, and kind of people coming in and out.
Had my next guest made the decision to go into broadcasting, I have no doubt he would have been one of the best or the best color commentator in sports. He is the only reason this broadcast had any semblance of professionalism. From a very young age, he has been able to break down sports and life.
The Steelers can't play physical ball with them. They got to do some razzle-dazzle, little, dipsy-doo-dah. They can power for power. They're going to lose with the Cowboys. You're playing right into the Cowboys. And, Vince Lombardi always said, everybody says the Cowboys are predictable. They are. But they execute, and that's all it's all about. You know what they're doing, but you can't stop it. That's basically what it is.
That whole day it wasn't just the Super Bowl. It was everything leading up to the Super Bowl. So I made sure I got my brunch early, and I came over to your place early, and you were setting up stuff, and, we're watching some of the pregame. I think growing up, our bond was we'd always sit on your front porch and just talk about sports. And I remember you always telling me just pretend we're on the porch talking sports. And I love that aspect of it. And then you bring the showmanship to it. And that's so it was always good. So I knew I stayed in my lane and then let you do your thing. And then it just worked.
I'm getting so friggin' emotional, and I'm gonna be going nuts in about 20 minutes. When they kick off the Super Bowl.
Dan, people get the idea that you're obnoxious. Now, this is a different side to Dan. This guy has a heart. He's very passionate about what he likes.
People say I'm obnoxious. I get everyone's fit. I talk so much straight, but it's all in good fun.
What's funny too is I didn't have to be hard for me to express. I was going against the Cowboys because everybody else in the room was doing it for me. What I love about that dynamic is it's just for those couple hours, you're going at it with them, they're going at it you, and it's just fun. It's just banter, kind of how sports brings us together.
Back in 1996, you didn't really have a platform to share these kinds of videos, so nobody made them.
When all of you see this, obviously you're going to know what happened in the game already. We couldn't do this live because we couldn't get a feed up here, but I mean, we either going to look like prophets or morons. It's going to be one way or the other.
I first had the idea of recording myself watching the Super Bowl after Super Bowl 27. That was the first of the Cowboys Super Bowl wins in the 90s. And I remember thinking that I wanted to relive the joy that game had brought. It was the first time I had watched the Cowboys win the Super Bowl as an adult. Of course, they had won the Super Bowl when I was 3, but have no memory of it. So this was the first time that I got to watch, as a real fan, my team win the Super Bowl, and I wanted to relive that. Of course, you could always rewatch the game. I had taped it on a VHS tape, and certainly rewatching the game would bring back some of those memories. But what I really wanted to capture was the environment that I had watched the game in, what my reactions were, how I felt, the people I was watching the game with. I wanted to relive that part of the experience. So I thought, wouldn't it be something if I recorded all of this?
You can't have that. You gotta make plays early, baby, or you'll be on the bus.
Of course, I had no access to video equipment or even how to put together a video outside of, old school, home movie cameras, those giant things people used to use to record stuff. But our college had a campus television station. A man who was responsible for the behind-the-scenes production of the Super Bowl party. He was the general manager of Binghamton Television, responsible for most of the content that I was able to produce. He actually does appear on screen very briefly, but he was an integral part in the production. He directed most of the game. I know he was there behind the camera for most of the second half, so he captured all of that action. Tell me what you remember about that party.
Oh my God, it's like as if it was yesterday. I remember nothing.
So wait.
I blame it on the cannabis.
We're just giving some shout outs to the alcohol right now.
You have no memory of me screaming at a bunch of people for 3 straight hours during a football game.
How is that any different than any other Cowboy fan show?
You don't remember me standing on a mini fridge screaming at people for 3 hours with all of the television equipment in my apartment? You have no memory of that?
Vague memory. I remember the co-host that had glasses.
He was actually wearing goggles. Yeah, that's man.
Please make it be a close game. Just keep us into it. That's all I ask for.
Do you have a score prediction, maybe?
I have 2 scenarios. Cowboys 31-21 pulling away. But then the Steelers, they win 21-17.
Really? 21-17. They did that 20 years ago in the Orange Bowl. 21-17. One of the greatest Super Bowls ever played. I like the Cowboys 35-19. We're going to start a real party, and now as the game's going to get underway real soon. Matt, I want to thank you for coming down here, man.
My pleasure. It's an honor being out here.
I do not recall anything other than it may have happened. There may be videotape showing that it happened and I was there.
The video quality is adequate. The sound is terrible. The effects are laughable. And yet, you can sense the dynamic and the drama building as the game progresses. The wonderful arrogance of one man who invited all of his friends to his apartment, and those friends invited their friends, some of whom he had never met and would never see again, and knowing that all of these people would be rooting against him. That is confidence.
I don't think I was prepared for the spectacle that a Super Bowl party was. One of yours was.
For 25 years, I have wondered about one thing.
Okay.
And I have a sneaking suspicion that you can help me with this. Anti-Conti. Whose idea was that?
Yeah, I don't know if I can help you with it. I was definitely part of that idea.
Oh, you were part of it. And
I
I
remember.
suspect that you were prominently involved in the creation of it. I was
I
hoping to
re-
get confirmation though.
okay, I don't know that I could take sole ownership of that, but I do feel like I remember it was the first experience I really had, like live experience of you in like full blown Conti cowboy fan mode. I remember you were like going nuts and kind of talking a lot of trash.
You know he's got the playmaker. You know he's got Megan Summer Golden.
It was just kind of a natural reaction to that. Like, let's kind of set up the opposing side to root for the other team. But at some point, somebody had the idea that we should spell out the words Anti-Conti and like individually each letter on a piece of like computer paper and then stand backwards and kind of like put them over our butts and moo in the camera. I remember making the signs. I feel like I was in the bottom row because it was Anti in the top row, Conti on the bottom row. There might have even been a hyphen.
I'm going to look this up right now because I feel like it's important that we document it.
And I think we just kind of got caught up in the hype of it. Like it was kind of, you were yelling and crazy. So it was kind of fun to be on the other end of it and yelling and crazy against you. You kind of made yourself a little bit of a villain.
I certainly did.
A lovable villain.
Let me screen share this and then we
Yeah, you could screen share it.
Hold on.
Professor Conti. We all look like babies. Look at you, Manny.
It's ridiculous. All right, here we go.
25 years.
All right, let's take a real good look at this right here. So, all right, you're the T right here. This is you. And then obviously, well, Steve.
Yeah, it's all the boys on the bottom.
Cohen, there's Brian Kiss, there's Mike Cooper.
Oh, I forgot he was there too.
Yeah, and that's.
Is this Cohen, the O?
No, Cohen is. Oh yeah, Cohen is the O.
And then Steve. Who's T?
T is Brian Kiss.
Okay, and who's I?
I think I is my friend Tom Petrus from high school.
I think a big part of my involvement also was that, you know, I was in love with Steve and.
Well, that's what
we weren't together yet. So I think, you know, anything that he was into, I wanted to be on that side of things.
Well, that was the point I was trying to make, is that a lot of the girls that were there were not there to watch the Super Bowl. You were all there to get within a close vicinity to the eligible males. The top two ranking at the time would have been, of course, Steve, and probably Brian Kiss would have been number 2.
You're not putting yourself in that category.
Well, I was still dating someone, so there was not I actually had a girlfriend.
I forgot about that. Okay.
It was not in the video, of course, but that's a whole other story. You know, y'all got together a couple weeks later, and it's now 25 years. You are married. You have 3 beautiful children. I am the godfather to your eldest, who was born
on a Super Bowl.
2042. And I would just like to point out that despite all of that wonderfulness, the Cowboys have not gotten back to the Super Bowl since the two of you got together.
So we're the cause of it.
Just saying.
I think that's a fair trade-off.
I guess. I mean,
my marriage and family, the Cowboys winning the Super Bowl.
I guess I kind of have to not be selfish about it, but
I mean, to be fair, you were integral in helping us get together, so you're partly to blame as well.
See, that's now where I'm starting to realize is that, you know, while of course for a while the two of you were kind of dancing around and maybe on the fence, I think that the excitement, Steve compared it to the movie Speed, where you guys were in a very stressful situation. I think that put it over the top.
Is it bad to say I don't know who won? Who won?
Well, the Cowboys won. I mean,
okay. All right. So our Anti-Conti sentiment.
They lost. I don't know that.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that I would have ever edited any of this had they lost.
But the anti-Conti sentiment didn't prevent that from
Oh,
happening.
of course. No, in fact, I told Steve, I was like, that's one of the top things that I actually look back on and enjoy the most was like, I actually got a room full of people to not only root against me, but to actually put together a coordinated hint and multiple signs.
So for all of the pregame and through the first quarter and midway into the second quarter, I had nothing but complete confidence that this was going to be another run-of-the-mill, easy Cowboys Super Bowl win. You know, if you're watching this today, you have to ask the question, how could you be so confident with the team only up 13 points? And what you have to understand is that back in those days, when a team like the Cowboys got a double-digit lead, got a 2-touchdown lead, it was over. The outcome of the game was no longer in doubt. The only question was, how big of a margin were they going to win by? It would have taken a small miracle for a team to get behind the Cowboys by that much and actually come back and win the game. It just didn't happen. I mean, nowadays, no lead is too safe, right? I mean, Atlanta's up 25 points in the Super Bowl with, 18 minutes left, whatever it is, and that's not enough. Teams come back from large deficits all the time. But back then, it just rarely ever happened. And it certainly wasn't going to happen to a team like the Cowboys.
Well, you got the NBC Sports ads because the Super Bowl will be broadcast on NBC for the third time in 4 years. And for the third time in 4 years, the Dallas Cowboys will walk away the Super Bowl champions.
The 90s Cowboys did not win close games. Almost all of their wins were double-digit laughers, where they're up 10-0, 14-0 after one quarter. Again, there's just no way that team was going to get beat once it got that kind of lead. There were no late game heroics from Troy Aikman. There were no stunning fourth quarter comebacks. That's just not what this team was. This team was, we are jumping on you right out of the gate. You are getting blown out. And that's what happened 90% of the time. The only games that you knew the Cowboys were in trouble was when they did not have a 2-touchdown lead at some point in the first half. Because then you said to yourself, oh, this might be a game we actually lose because we didn't do what we normally do. And those are the games the Cowboys lost, the few that they did.
So I think it's fair to say that my next guest absorbed more trash talking abuse from me in the 90s. And looking back, probably unfairly. As a Giants fan, he was really paying the price for what other Giant fans had done to me in the 80s.
In the mid-'80s and late '80s, I got tortured, man. I got scorched by Giant fans in particular. Going in middle school, going into early high school. I mean, I got destroyed by Giant fans.
Well, he took it in stride, and now he's a doctor. So that's right. My college roommate is a doctor, so everybody can suck it. Dr. Andrew Cohen. Tell me what you remember.
I was praying. You tortured me to this day, 25 years later, I'm still wondering what I ever did to you to deserve that. So every year I am praying that they do. I hope they do horribly. But what I do remember is Beth Binns, I think at some point in time, getting in your face, which is very uncharacteristic of her.
Well, yeah, she. I had made a slightly disparaging comment about the city of Pittsburgh, and she kind of shot right back at it. I mean, she didn't actually get up in my face, but she actually did quickly retort, and I kind of backed down. So that was funny.
The Pittsburgh room is very somber, much like the Steel City itself.
Oh, no way.
Had the Cowboys lost, what would have been your expectation for how you think I would have reacted or how you hoped I would have reacted?
Well, you know, I did kind of know you when the Cowboys sucked, so probably would have been very similar. It just would have been sweeter after all those years of torture you gave to me. And I probably wouldn't have said much. I would have just smiled and nodded and been on my very way.
Yeah.
Knowing that you were being ripped apart inside.
There you go. Well, good. Well, and see, that's why you're a classy guy.
When you look at the matchup through the prism of the Super Bowl, NFC versus AFC, the NFC had won 11 straight Super Bowls up until that point. And there was no indication that this Cowboys-Steeler game was not going to be number 12. But then things start to change. The Steelers are driving. They're converting third downs. They're moving the ball down the field. And you can see that I become visibly a little less confident. I mean, I'm basically saying to myself and out loud, well, let's hold them to a field goal, because then at least, you know, we still have a double-digit lead, a two-possession lead, and it's minimal damage. But when they score that touchdown, that's when the feeling in the room shifts dramatically. The guests are energized, they are celebrating with each other, and there is a sense that maybe we're witnessing history. Now, to my credit, I held it together. You know, I'm high-fiving the crowd, keeping their enthusiasm going. There was a part of me that was enjoying, or at least happy about, the fact that, hey, my guests are now have hope, and this is going to be a good back and forth, and that's what ended up happening.
What's that? I just gone through. I felt crap, and now I feel a little hope, a little, out there. Yeah, I know. The things that are worried, Dallas up 13-7. I mean, what I'm worried about is that the Cowboys, they gave up a touchdown there at the end of the half, and that's key, but it's also really key because the Steelers get the second half kickoff.
Can we talk about the zebra pants for a minute? For those who may not know, zebra pants are a multicolored pant that is arranged in a zigzag pattern to mimic that of a zebra, hence the term zebra pants. Now, I had received these zebra pants as a Christmas gift back in 1991 from my Aunt Lisa and Uncle Vinny.
Think about the Cowboys, though. They were dominating before, controlling the time and all that. I think that's still going to have an effect in third, fourth quarter. Keep in mind, that Steelers defense still looks tired. Lloyd's been taking a beating.
Now understand, these were treated as actual pants. I mean, these were in the rotation. I wore these to high school. I wore these around campus when I was in college. And I can't think of another article of clothing that was more in the wheelhouse of young Italian-American males in the early 1990s than zebra pants. You simply had to own them.
You look at the Steelers, 13-7. This is a good score for the Steelers. You know, they don't want to play 30-30, 30-38, you know, in the third. So this is a perfect score for them right now.
I don't think I ever saw Aunt Lisa and Uncle Vinny again, but the zebra pants live forever.
Whoever scores first in the second half is going to tell the fate of the second half. If the Cowboys stop the Steelers and they score, it's going to be a tough ball game. But if the Steelers, hey, if they even get a field goal, hey, look out, we could have a ball game here.
Come on, baby, let's do it. Defense, baby, get in there. You got him. Here we go! Here we go!
And it's amazing, as soon as Larry Brown makes that first interception, the confidence goes right back to 100%. And even though, you know, it's still a 6-point game, and Dallas now has the ball, but they've got the ball deep in Pittsburgh territory. And again, with the way the NFL was at the time, there was no question the Cowboys were going to score a touchdown there and go back up 13 points. It just didn't cross your mind that they weren't going to get it in. And of course they did. Is the score where you want it to be? No. But the fact that time is running out and that Pittsburgh needs at least 2 possessions to catch up, you know, that confidence is still there. So they go back up 13, and, you know, the offenses had kind of stalled at that point, so they're basically trading, you know, 3-and-out type possessions. But the game is moving along. And you get down to 11 minutes left in the game. And again, Cowboys hold the Steelers to a field goal try. I'm okay with that. Because even when they make it, hey, it's still a 10-point game. It's still a 2-possession game. That confidence is still there. And then the onside kick. And you can see the visible shock when that play happens. And the confidence goes from here down to here in an instant. Because there's 2 things now that are running through your mind. One, now the Steelers have basically stolen a possession and have an opportunity to close the gap to 7 points or 3 points. But also, in my mind, you know that onside kick recovery is exactly the type of play that an underdog team needs to beat a team like the Cowboys. So, of course, they don't lose the lead. They can't lose the lead on that drive. But you know that that surprise play is now part of the narrative and is exactly the kind of spark that the Steelers would need to actually win this game.
So there was one group of fans that I kind of harped on most of the season just for fun. And if there was one man who properly embodied the misery of being a New York Jets fan, it is my next guest. We called him Crazy Jets fan, but I call him Steve Lefko.
Still miserable. The embodiment hasn't, lessened.
Right. I mean, it's sad enough as a Cowboy fan to go 25 years and not go to the Super Bowl, but the Jets just keep on trucking in that department. But what's actually sadder is that the Jets have actually made 3 conference championships.
Right. I was just going to say that we were knocking on the door,
right, and 2 of them with Mark Sanchez.
I said the future quarterback of the New York Jets, right there, baby.
A lot of the people who were in my apartment that day did not go there with the intention of necessarily getting into a battle over who was going to win the game. But if there was one man who made sure that everyone in the room was rooting against me, it was you. Tell me how you were able to get everybody whipped up in a frenzy rooting for Pittsburgh.
I think the main thing is it's generally easy to get people against the Cowboys, like being a Yankee fan, everyone's going to root against the Yankees except for Yankee fans. It's not like there's no indifference. You either like them or you hate them. And then you're in New York with all these giant heads. So, they're going to want to root against Dallas. So like drafting people in, doesn't take a hell of a lot. Every Lex Luthor, being you, needs their, arch hero. I was going to make me the arch nemesis, but I think it's more accurate if you're a Luthor and I'm like the Superman. Okay. And, to raise the stakes of everything.
Get him! Yeah, that's right. You throw your underwear. Throw that shit in the garbage.
I remember bits and pieces, but
what you're saying is you didn't prep for this like everyone else.
No, but I do remember though, in the first half, really kind of getting jacked up that Pittsburgh's, gonna maybe take care of this here. And right. I can kind of remember your face a little, and I don't really remember feeling bad that you felt bad, Whereas today, I probably, maybe because it's been so long, I would actually kind of, root for the Cowboys a little bit. But at that time, I think it was, nobody.
It was all or nothing. It was
right. So, and I think the Jets had been so deprived for so long. This was before we had any real success that, I kind of got into the idea of rooting for a team that actually might win something, even if it was for a day,
Right.
That
was kind of the whole point. And it's just kind of what my Super Bowl party later became, because obviously the Cowboys haven't been back. Is just, let's pick a team, let's have some fun and just enjoy the game for the one day. And, but that day, the stakes were higher, of course.
Right. So I mean, anytime somebody's team is in it, it makes it better. And then when you have someone who's generally obnoxious, and a team that is so,
universally
polarizing, so you had all the ingredients there.
I was thinking about the Mo Lewis jersey and how, first of all, how random it was to even have that. But being that he was probably the best Jets player at the time, that would be the jersey of choice. But if you think about what's happened since, of course, Mo Lewis
he's the guy who got Tom Brady his whole career.
He's the guy who knocked out Drew Bledsoe and gave us Tom Brady, which is basically accounted for the last 20 years of the Super Bowl.
And here's an even better, that jersey, which is hanging in my closet. Me and Dave Clark went to an autograph signing. Mo Lewis was supposed to go to the Palisades Mall Models and sign autographs, right? So this had to be around that time, like within a year or two. So we go there. I got the jersey. We wait online. So Mo Lewis cancels, and they bring in Pepper Johnson, who was on the Jets. So I have a Mo Lewis jersey signed by Pepper Johnson now.
Hey, that's
and somebody else, I can't even remember who, in my closet. So I don't know what that's worth on eBay, but
So they cut it to 3, and there's 6.5 minutes left. And now you're starting to worry, because this is starting to look like those few games that the 90s Cowboys would end up losing. Again, it didn't happen a lot, but this was starting to follow the script of a game that maybe this team is not going to win. But as a fan, you still feel in control because you have the lead. There's only 6.5 minutes left. You're getting the ball back. So the thought process is, okay, we've got the best running back in the game. We've got the best offensive line. Let's run the ball. Let's get the first downs. And let's essentially run out the clock and don't give the Steelers the ball back. And in fact, even when they kind of screwed up that kickoff, I was actually okay with that because it left them a lot of field to get multiple first downs to actually run that clock out. And I felt that that's what they were going to do, because essentially that's what they had done to Green Bay 2 weeks earlier. So again, you still felt like the game was in their control. But then the Steelers stopped them. And now you're giving them the ball back. And there's 3 minutes and change left. And your team is now on defense, where your opponent now has the opportunity to take the lead late in the game. And that is not something that I had seen with the Cowboys in the Super Bowl before. You know, the Bills games, yeah, they trailed early in those games. Trailed at halftime the second time. But this was the first time this team was in this situation. And now, you know, again, you're trying to hold it together. But inside, you're like, it's all on the table now. Anything can happen.
Oh my cannot take this. I cannot take this. Holy shit.
Anything can happen. And anything did. And when Larry Brown makes that second interception, the confidence comes right back. It is such a rush. You go from thinking that, man, we might actually lose this game, immediately to, we're winning this game. It's over. And again, a modern day fan would look at that and go, why are you so confident? It's a 3-point game. The Steelers, I believe, had all of their timeouts. All they really have to do is hold Dallas to a field goal, and they can still win with a touchdown. Why are you so confident? But again, you have to understand the era. When the Cowboys or a team like the Cowboys got themselves in that position, there was no question they were going to score the touchdown that put the game away. And that's what they did. Exhilaration, a sense of accomplishment, a sense that you were part of history, but for that day that you were able to provide an exciting experience for everyone. And listen, I know those people were disappointed that the Cowboys had won, and they had been listening to me talk trash for many years. And it would have been super sweet if they could have gotten some sort of revenge. But, you know, it was all in good fun. And, you know, the people in that room, you know, are my friends to this day. And we talk about it and we laugh about it on occasion, typically when the anniversary comes up. But again, would I have loved the Cowboys to win that Super Bowl 52-0? Sure. But it's much more satisfying the way that it played out and the way that it ended and the way that they won.
And my kids, you know, I mean, they enjoy sports, but they're never going to get to the level that I am. At least I don't think they will. Maybe when they're older and, you know, and it's like, hey,
Cats in the cradle. That'd be awesome.
I'm 30, and the Cowboys still haven't won the Super Bowl. My dad watched them win 3 before he turned 22. So, you know, it's maybe at some point it kicks in, but that's the thing. And I even said it then. I'm like, you know, the 90s is the time for this team. I'll still root for them after the 90s are over, but it basically won't be the same. So I think that's why I still care a little bit, is because I would like to enjoy that with them. Because again, with what happened in college, it was just me celebrating with myself because everybody I was watching the game with wanted me to lose. So, you know, it was a different dynamic then. But now that I have kids, it's like, and I want to get one with them, and then I can be done. Then I can be out. Listen, I'm a confident person, but I feel like when you're a fan and you're rooting for your team, you have to be confident. Because if you're not confident and you're nervous, that energy somehow is going to affect your team in a negative way, which, I mean, of course is ridiculous.